What you really need to know as a beginner painter. When you walk into an art supply store, it's so tempting to buy every color you see. Those beautiful rows of paint can be really hard to resist. But if you're using student-grade paints, a lot of those ready-made colors are actually just mixtures of pigment you probably already have at home. In this video, I'll show you why it's so important to know what's actually in your paint. Understanding this will help you mix colors better, save money, and give you more control over your artwork. I'll be using acrylic paint as an example, but the same ideas apply to oil paints, watercolors, and gouache. A lot of information about your paint is right there on the tube, so let's start there. The first thing you see is the color name. Most of the time, this name refers to the pigment used to make the paint. Sometimes, though, it's just a fancy marketing name. That's why it's important not to just trust the name on the front of the tube, but to check the details on the back as well. Next, let's talk about opacity. A color can be opaque, transparent, or somewhere in between, and most brands show this on the tube using symbols. For example, an empty box usually means the paint is transparent. A solid black box means it's fully opaque. Other symbols indicate levels in between. Let's look at 3 different reds. First, cadmium red. It's fully opaque. Then there's spiral red, which is semi-opaque. You can see a faint black line through it. And finally, primary magenta, which is transparent. The black line shows clearly through the paint. The difference in opacity comes from the pigment used. Light fastness tells you how quickly a color will fade when exposed to sunlight. This is usually shown with symbols or numbers on the tube. For example, Royal Talens uses 3 plus signs to indicate the highest light fastness. If you're making paintings you plan to sell, this is something you definitely want to consider. One of the most important pieces of information on the tube is the pigment code. It tells you exactly which pigment is used to make the color. Some paints have just one pigment, while others have 2 or more. Here's how the code works. The first letter P stands for pigment. The second letter shows the color family. PB is pigment blue. PR is pigment red. PY is yellow. PG is green, and so on. The number that follows refers to the chemical composition of the pigment. Every pigment has its own unique code. Later I'll explain why knowing this is really useful for mixing and choosing colors. Something you won't see on the tube is color strength. Different pigments have different intensities. Dark colors are usually stronger than light ones, and cadmium colors are always powerful. Yellow is the lightest color on the color wheel, and it's generally the weakest. Most yellows have low color strength, except for cadmium yellow, which is strong and also the only yellow that's fully opaque. On professional paint tubes, you'll often see a series number. Colors are divided into series. Series 1 colors are usually the least expensive, and prices increase with the series number. This doesn't mean Series 1 colors are lower quality, it just means the pigment used is cheaper than pigment in higher series. For example, Amsterdam Expert paints are divided into Series 1 through 4, while golden paints go from Series 1 to 9. In professional paints, prices can vary per color, while in student paints all colors are usually the same price. Fluorescent and neon colors are made with dyes, not pigments. This means they're not light fast and can fade faster in direct sunlight. Paintings using these colors should be kept out of direct sun or placed behind UV protective glass. In a sketchbook or away from sunlight, these colors will last longer. When I first started painting, I used student paints and bought every shade of blue I could find. Blue is my favorite color, and at that time I knew very little about pigments or mixing. Later I realized a lot of those tubes were unnecessary. Most student-grade blues are pre-mixed colors, and this is true for other color families too. Every tube of quality paint shows which pigments are used. These pigments determine how the paint behaves. A color made from just one pigment is called monopigmented or single pigment. These paints are predictable and reliable. What you mix is exactly what you get. Colors made from multiple pigments, the so-called pre-mixed or convenience colors, are more complex. For example, mixing two convenience colors that each contain 2 or 3 pigments can mean you're mixing 6 different pigments at once. It's no wonder the resulting color can be slightly duller or less vibrant than a single pigmented mix. Use pre-mixed colors if you like them, especially if you're new to mixing, but a little knowledge about pigments helps you make smarter choices and gives you more control. To see exactly which pigments are in a paint, use the color index. It's an international system with unique codes. There are 10 pigment groups. After the letters there's a number, like PB29 for ultramarine blue. This tells you exactly which pigment is used, making it easier to compare brands and colors. You don't need to memorize all the codes, but it helps to know the ones for your favorite colors. On the website artistcreation.com you can find a database of all pigments. Color names can be confusing. Different brands might use the same name for different pigments, or different names for the same pigment. And even with the same pigment, the paint can behave differently depending on how the manufacturer prepares it. For example, Winsor Blue sounds exclusive, but if the pigment code says PB15, it's just phthalo blue. So always check the pigment code rather than the name. This prevents buying multiple tubes that are basically the same color. To give you an example of convenience colors in student-grade paint, let's take a look at a few paint colors from the Amsterdam Standard range. For blue and green shades you'll often see the same pigments used. PB15 is phthalo blue, PB29 is ultramarine, PW6 is titanium white, and sometimes black, PBK7, or phthalo green, PG7, is added as well. With these pigments, the manufacturer can create countless variations of blue. The same goes for turquoise shades, all made from phthalo blue, phthalo green and titanium white, just in different proportions. It may look there's a huge selection, but in reality the same base pigments are being used over and over. Convenience colors are easy and sell well, but single pigment paints mix cleaner and more predictably. Student paints mostly use inexpensive pigments, while professional paints can include costly, exclusive pigments like cobalt, cerulean or cadmium. To create a similar color in student paints, the hue of the expensive pigment is imitated using other pigments. When you see hue behind the name, like cadmium red hue, it means it's an imitation of the original pigment. The color looks almost the same, but properties like opacity, transparency and color strength may differ. Always check the pigment codes, not just the names. This prevents buying duplicates and helps you understand how your paint will behave. A little knowledge can save you money and give you more control over your colors. Painting doesn't become harder, it becomes clearer and more predictable. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like. It really helps my channel. If you want to learn more about colors, color mixing and how to use color in your paintings, check out my online course Perfect Color Mixing and Matching. The link is in the description below and it's available in both English and Dutch. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.